It's yours. All you got to do is let it in. This is Mekus with the Continence Club. If you need help with anything, my email's in the description. Please let me know how you need help controlling your mind. You ever heard the term, you're blocking your own blessings? You ever heard that wording? You're blocking your own blessings. Well, there's some truth to that. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. So please stay tuned because it's going to make sense. I'm going to make it all come full circle. So how I want to start is by letting you know that, again, like I say in many of my videos, you're in a situation right now. You're in a current situation, whatever that may be, respective to you. But one thing that I do know is you don't want to be here anymore. Matter of fact, you've probably been here for months, years even, right? Maybe even over a decade or so. But you find yourself coming back to the same situation, hamster wheel effect, stagnation, no progress. You make a little progress, then boom, you're back to your current situation, right? And you're just tired of this and you really want to get to your desired situation. And in order to bridge this gap, you just have to let it in, right? Don't block your own blessings. The truth is, God is trying to bless you. Matter of fact, you are blessed every single day. But the blessings you see are available to you, but you just have to allow it to happen, right? And a lot of times, I know this from my personal life, I was self-sabotaging myself. And there's a reason why I felt like I wasn't blessed in certain time periods. And a lot of times, all you need to do is make a few tweaks in your mentality and you're going to get what you want. You're going to get to this desired situation, because of right now, you find yourself not making progress and you remain in the stagnation loop, in these stagnation loops, these plateau loops, right? You're tired of staying the same and you want to make a change, but you have low self-esteem, right? You feel shameful every day, right? How do you think God is going to bless you if you have these things? If you're guilty every day, if you're addicted, right? You can't get over those vices. If you're depressed, you have feelings of depression. How do you expect to have great health when you remain depressed, when you don't want to take action for your current situation? How do you expect to get to where you want to be, to who you want to be, right? If you have parasites in your system from bad food that you're eating, if you're in toxic relationships, right? It's going to get a little deep today. If you're negative all the time, if you have self-doubt, when you can really achieve and become that person that you want to be. Are you kidding me? You're trying to tell me that you can't become a better version of yourself? No way. I don't believe that. Limiting beliefs. You think you're going to get to that next level of limiting beliefs? I'm going to talk to you today. Do you expect to become the person that you want to be when you're living in fear every day? When you have a lack of clarity, you don't even know what you want? If I ask you right now, what do you want? Are you able to tell me that? Right? You have a dream, right? Break it down and see how you're going to get there. Know what you want to do. Know where you want to go. Do you expect to get there if you're living in ignorance? Oh, this is a big one here. Procrastination. You expect to become who you want to be if you're consistently procrastinating, right? I'm going to motivate you today. How do you expect to get there when you're lazy every day, when you're not even getting 1% better, right? How do you expect to have focus for your visualizations to become who you want to be, to focus, to have better mind control when you're constantly stimulated every day, right? How do you expect to get your brain healthy and to allow it to function at 100% like a car engine, right? Like a computer processor, if you're constantly stimulating your brain and shortening your attention span? It just can't happen, or it's going to be very difficult, right? How do you expect to have that nice body, right? How do you expect to have that loving relationship? How do you expect to get that money, that brand new car, when your self-image isn't where it's supposed to be, right? How can you have all of this when your self-image isn't in alignment with these things? Do you understand what I'm saying? A lot of times, and it's a hard pill to swallow, you're doing it to yourself, right? You think it's the government's fault, right? You think it's your neighbor's fault. You think it's your ex-wife's fault. You think it's your ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend's fault, your ex-husband's fault. You think it's the school system's fault. You think it's anybody's fault, right? But once you take accountability, that's when things start to get serious. You think it's even your environment's fault. But the truth is, it's all your mindset. You can make a change today. And how beautiful is that? You have a chance every single day to make a change and to let your blessings in, right? This is why the door to your opportunity, right, is closed. The door to your desired situation is closed. The door to your transformation, the door to your next level, right, is closed because of all of these things. See, this is what you're feeling a lot more than the positive things I'm going to get into that you're feeling every day. You're thinking more negative than positive, but I don't even blame you. It's not even your fault, because growing up, we've really been taught, right, to really think about the more negative outcomes versus the more positive outcomes. Right? That's why it's so common these days that people have these traits, right? But successful people, and I'm sure people like you who's really starting to get it, and this stuff is really starting to make sense, understand that in order to open that door, you have to have more gratitude, right? In all of these things. So you have a fire inside of you. I know you do. You have a fire inside of you that you're answering to right now. That's why you're watching this video. That's why you really want to take action and change your life, because of that burning sensation that you have, that desire that you have inside of you. You can have it. You have an idea of what you want. Maybe you don't know, but you have an idea of what you want in life and who you need to become. And that's great, because you're already far ahead of the average person as long as you have an idea of what you want, right? And you work every day to align yourself to that version of yourself. And you're trying to do it through gratitude. You're doing it through trying to be more generous. This is what it takes for you to get all of these things, right? The complete opposite of the sickness, of the depression, of the terrible toxic relationships, right? Of the addiction and vices, of that scarcity mindset. 360 all of these things into gratitude, right? Be grateful of what you have. God is going to give you that life that you want to be grateful for. Be more generous. You get what you give. We live in a world where creation is everything. When you give back, you're going to receive even more than you're giving. You just have to focus on giving. There's no lack in this world. Trust me. Nature is forever abundant. We don't lack anything. You don't lack anything. Optimism, being happy, right? Feeling states. I talk about it in my videos. Feeling states is what's really going to magnetize that life that you want to yourself. And you can do that through consistent optimism. The law of detachment, not being so pressed, right? To have that loving relationship, to have that beautiful physique, that new car and the money, right? You're not chasing after these things. You're just putting yourself in alignment to get it, right? You're detached. You're not worried about how it's going to happen. You're not worried about when it's going to happen. You just know it's going to happen, and it will happen. It will. It will. And funny enough, whenever you're detached from things, haven't you realized it in your life? Whenever you're detached, that's when you seem to get it, right? Whenever you're detached from relationships, you seem to have people that are interested in you and being a mate, potential spouse, right? Potential partner. Haven't you noticed that? But whenever you're out there chasing that spouse, that partner, whoever it may be, that person's like, ew, they're instantly turned off and they're running away from you. The law of detachment is real, and the same thing applies to your goals. The law of assumption. I talk about it in a few of my videos, living from the wish fulfilled, living from the end, living from your desired situation. So what does that mean? That person that you want to be, that has what you want, how does that person walk? How does that person talk, right? What does that person do on a day-to-day basis? What does that person eat, right? All of these things fall into the category of the law of assumption, right? Living from the wish fulfilled, because when you do these things, you're going to become that person. And then once you become that person, you're automatically going to get the goal. You're living in present moment awareness, at least you're trying to. You're trying to be more present. You're meditating more because you understand the power of focus and attention. Whenever you continue to focus your attention on positive, wonderful traits like this instead of the negative ones, right? That's going to build your ability to focus and concentrate onto becoming that person that you want to be, because you're less distracted, you're more present, and you're more in the moment. Delayed gratification, you understand that in order for you to get what you want, it's going to take a long-term marathon. It's going to be a long-term thing, right? You understand that delayed gratification, you're going to say no to things that make you feel happy right now because it's going to make you feel bad later and afterwards, right? And that's what it takes to get to your desired situation. You're doing it through prayer, right? You're doing it through knowing. You're doing it through fasting, right? To cleanse your spirit, your soul, to connect you closer to God, to get what it is that you want. You're doing it through being authentic. You know, you don't care about what other people think anymore, right? You're starting to realize that it never mattered in the first place. It's all in your head. You're becoming your authentic self. Why do I know you're becoming your authentic self? It's because you want to control your life and live your own reality. You want to do what you want to do whenever you want to do it. You know, everyone that watches this channel is authentic because you are taking control of your mind, which is something that 90% of people don't want to do. You're living with more purpose for that reason, because you're more authentic. You have more high self-esteem because you're putting in the work every single day. You're hitting the gym every day. You're eating clean. You're trying your best. And so your self-esteem and confidence is going up because you're more disciplined, right? You're doing the shadow work. You're facing yourself internally, right? You're destroying the demons, right? You're putting yourself back in balance, right? Because everything comes back to balance. You're talking to yourself. You're speaking life to yourself, right? Positive self-talk. You're done telling yourself that you can't do it. You're tired of telling yourself that you're not capable, right? And you're starting to talk positive. This is what you're trying to do every day. You just want to be more consistent. I get it, right? And you want to be healthier and you want to develop healthy habits. What I got to tell you right now is that when you consistently do this as much as you can every single day, and you prioritize these positive things over the negative, like we've been doing most of our life, like we've been trained to do most of our life, that's how you're going to let it in, right? God is going to start to open up the door to these blessings that you want, right? This is what it takes. This is what successful people understand. Whenever I found success in my life, I did it unconsciously sometimes, right? And so this is what is going to take you from your current situation to your desired situation. We're bridging that gap today through letting you understand that you are blocking your own blessings, but you can let your own blessings in at the same time, and God is ready to bless you. This is Mekus with the Continence Club. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you on the other side, and until then, keep going.